I always felt very sorry for Brian. He was two things. He was not very nice, and he upset people very easily. In the pantheon of rock's most dramatic exits, few stories carry the weight of tragedy and inevitability quite like Brian Jones's departure from the Rolling Stones. The golden-haired multi-instrumentalist who formed the band and gave it its name would, in a cruel twist of fate, find himself pushed to the margins of his own creation. But how did the band's trailblazing architect become expendable to the very institution he helped build? Let's take a look. The genesis of the Stones. Brian Jones's journey towards creating the Rolling Stones began when he left his hometown of Cheltenham for London's vibrant music scene. There he immersed himself in the city's small but passionate rhythm and blues community, befriending influential musicians like Alexis Corner and future Cream bassist Jack Bruce. Jones quickly established himself as a blues musician, occasionally performing under the name Elmo Lewis, and developing his distinctive slide guitar technique. In May 1962, Jones took the decisive step that would change music history by placing an advertisement in Jazz News, a Soho club information sheet inviting musicians to audition for a new R&B group. Pianist Ian Stewart was the first to respond, followed by Mick Jagger, who brought along his childhood friend Keith Richards. Their mutual appreciation for authentic American blues created an immediate musical chemistry, despite some early tensions between Jones's blues purism and Richards's enthusiasm for Chuck Berry's rock and roll. According to Richards's account, the band's iconic name came from Jones himself. While on the phone with a venue owner who asked what they were called, Jones spotted a Muddy Waters album on the floor with the track Rolling Stone Blues and spontaneously adopted it for the group. The Rolling Stones, later adding the G, played their first gig on July 12, 1962, at London's Marquise Club. In these formative days, Jones, Jagger, and Richards shared a squalid flat at 102 Edith Grove in Chelsea, which Richards later affectionately described as a beautiful dump. There, they spent countless hours playing guitar and listening to blues records, with Jones teaching Jagger harmonica techniques. While functioning as the band's de facto manager, Jones received £5 more than his bandmates, a financial agreement that planted early seeds of resentment, particularly when Jagger and Richards discovered it. Even Charlie Watts, who joined the band in January 1963, acknowledged Jones's crucial early leadership, noting that while he and Keith thought Brian was barmy, it was Jones's determination that pushed them onto stages and established their identity as an R&B band. This founding vision proved both the band's launching pad and, ironically, a source of later conflict. Personal earthquakes. The deteriorating professional relationship between Jones and his bandmate was dramatically accelerated by a devastating personal betrayal in March 1967. Anita Pallenberg, Jones's girlfriend of 2 years and an influential figure in the Stones' inner circle, left him for Keith Richards during a trip to Morocco. This relationship shift occurred after Jones reportedly became violent toward Pallenberg, resulting in his hospitalization in Morocco. The Pallenberg situation transformed the already strained dynamic between Jones and Richards into something far more toxic. Beyond the professional jealousy that had been building, the romantic triangle introduced a deeply personal dimension to their conflict, making genuine collaboration increasingly difficult. The period coincided with Jones's escalating substance abuse issues. His drug and alcohol consumption, which had begun earlier, intensified dramatically as his position in the band weakened. By mid-1967, his behavior had become erratic and unpredictable, as evidenced in Peter Whitehead's promotional film For We Love You, where Jones appears notably disoriented. Jones's personality during this period developed troubling contradictions that made him increasingly difficult to work with. Bill Wyman observed that Jones exhibited at least two distinct sides, one introverted, sensitive, and thoughtful, the other preening, attention-seeking, and desperately needing validation. This psychological instability created a pattern where Jones would push every friendship, quote, with a limit and way beyond, according to Wyman. Charlie Watts noted that while many band members indulged in drinking and drug use, Jones lacked the mental and physical constitution to handle such excesses. Watts remarked that Jones could be deeply unpleasant and had a talent for upsetting others easily, a volatile combination that increasingly isolated him within the band. As Jones's substance abuse worsened, his musical contributions became increasingly sporadic. The once reliable multi-instrumentalist, who could master any musical challenge, began appearing infrequently at recording sessions. When he did attend, his contributions were often deemed unusable, creating frustration for bandmates trying to maintain a professional recording schedule despite his unpredictability. The final straw. By 1969, the Rolling Stones faced significant commercial pressure to resume touring, particularly in the lucrative American market. The band had not toured the U.S. since 1966, and their management recognized that a return was essential for financial stability and continued relevance in the rapidly evolving rock landscape. The release of Let It Bleed, scheduled for July 1969 in the U.S., provided the perfect opportunity for a major North American tour planned for November. However, the band's management soon confronted an insurmountable obstacle. Jones would not receive a work permit due to his drug convictions. This practical impediment forced the band to confront the decision they had been avoiding. Jones's contributions to Let It Bleed had been minimal, limited to auto harp on You Got the Silver and percussion on Midnight Rambler. His absence from sessions had become so routine, the album was essentially completed without him. The band had already adapted to functioning as a unit without Jones's meaningful participation. In the spring of 1969, several incidents highlighted Jones's continuing decline. He borrowed the group's Jaguar for a shopping trip, only to have the car towed by police, forcing him to hire a chauffeur-driven car to return home. In May, he crashed his motorcycle into a shop window and was secretly taken to hospital under an assumed name to avoid publicity. These episodes reinforced concerns about his reliability and judgment. In Stewart, the band's longtime pianist and road manager suggested adding a new guitarist to replace Jones. This proposal gained traction as the band recognized that continuing with Jones would make American touring impossible, while adding significant complications to recording and performing. The 20-year-old guitarist Mick Taylor, formerly of John Mayall's Bluesbreakers, emerged as the ideal candidate, technically proficient, reliable, and unencumbered by legal issues. The business imperatives became impossible to ignore. The band couldn't afford to maintain a member who could not tour internationally. The dismissal and its aftermath. What we thought, what the management figured out, you'll get $100,000 now and $20,000 for every year the band keeps going. Sure, come see us at the studio, you know. Send on me. On June 8, 1969, Mick, Keith, and Charlie drove to Jones's Cotchford Farm residence for a difficult conversation. Strategically, they included Watts, generally seen as the most diplomatic band member. The 30-minute discussion was reportedly cordial, with all parties seeming relieved that the situation was reaching a resolution. Jagger and Richards explained that the group could no longer work with Jones in his current state, citing profound disagreements over musical direction. Jones, perhaps surprising them, agreed with the assessment. The next day, Jones and the band released carefully worded statements about the separation. Jones framed his departure as stemming from creative differences, stating that he no longer saw eye to eye with the others regarding their musical direction. He expressed a desire to pursue his own musical vision rather than continue with the Stones' evolving sound. The band's statement, delivered by Jagger, characterized the split as amicable and emphasized that they would remain friends despite the professional separation. Now it's time to hear from you. Who's your favorite member of the Rolling Stones? Let us know in the comments section below.